Oh, I don't want to be married. I make too much money now. No. I've seen what happened to Adele, Mary J, Kelly Clarkson. The list goes on.
Today, we are starting off this month of July with everything about relationships and love.
Oh, great.
Today, I'm joined by See the Thing Is podcast, Mandii and Bridget Kelly.
Yes.
We are going to dive into all things relationships. This is why people think I'm from New York.
All the things.
From the most traditional ways to go about things and the most unconventional ways to some people, which is the perfect episode to start off July of relationships and love on the podcast. Welcome.
Hey guys.
I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
I know, I'm hyped. Thank you for having us today.
Of course, thanks for, and also you guys, when you finish listening to this episode, make sure you listen to my episode on their podcast.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love
it.
It
was phenomenal.
Came out last week.
It was some good shit, y'all.
It was really good. You know how I know it was really good? Because I was on it.
This subtle flex
has been brought to you by. We love it.
Okay, we got Mandii, who is bisexual and doesn't believe in monogamy.
Ooh.
She believes that healthy relationships involve other people. She used to love being the other woman, and she was really into fucking married men, and she said she never wants to be in the wife's position. She did have a healthy relationship with her man for 2 years where they were fucking her friends and going to sex clubs. Then we got, on the other side, Bridget Kelly, which she grew up with a mother who was the other woman.
Hello.
She does believe in monogamy.
Yes.
Although it's very public knowledge that previously she was a cheater.
Yes. Reformed cheater.
Yeah, because currently she's in a successful relationship of 2 years.
Yes.
That is a lot to unpack, but I kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of who believes in monogamy, who doesn't.
Real quick, Violet. Just so y'all listening, we had a wonderful conversation yesterday. I did not know she was taking that for pre-show notes.
I love the pre-show notes.
As my intro. Whoa.
I love the pre-show notes.
But they're going to hate me before I even talk.
No, they love you.
No, they're going to love you.
Okay.
That was a very salacious intro. Salacious.
Have you ever cheated?
It's never been considered cheating for Mandii.
Exactly. So we have someone who doesn't believe in monogamy but has never cheated. And then we have someone who believes in monogamy but has cheated.
Yeah.
And then it's just, I don't know, I find all that stuff really interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. What's each person's definition of a relationship?
I actually really truly believe in compartmentalizing relationships. So to me, not one relationship looks like the next. I don't believe that you can get fully everything you need from one person. So when I say compartmentalization, it looks like you serve a purpose in my life. Not necessarily that it's transactional, but you fulfill me in a way that I want you to be around. And so a relationship, whether it's with a partner, your friendships, your parents, your siblings, everyone serves a purpose, whether even associates. And we've talked about that on our pod as well. I truly believe it's just compartmentalization of how someone serves you in your life. That's a relationship.
So I believe that not just one person can be everything for you, but I always thought emotionally. But you mean sexually?
I believe in every capacity. I believe in financially. I believe in when you have a hobby, maybe your person doesn't like the same hobbies as you. So that would be maybe from a social standpoint. So financial, emotional, sexual, all of those things. I don't think that one person can fully check off all of those buckets for you.
Do you believe in marriage?
Oh, I don't want to be married. I make too much money now. No. I've seen what happened to Adele, Mary J, Kelly Clarkson. The list goes on.
That is so true.
And so to me now, I actually don't want marriage, but because I have been that other woman so often in the past, I don't see the purpose in marriage outside of it being a business partnership in terms of tax deductions and certain rates on different things when you show up as married. I don't need another business partner. I have Bridget.
My work
we're
wife.
Married, technically.
We're married. We're work wives.
Contractually.
We're work wives.
So to me as a partner, you're not going to show up any different for me as a husband than as just someone I choose as a life partner.
A relationship to me is a person that is complementary to you. Mandii and I talk about all the time this horrible idea about in relationships being 50-50 and one person being half of a person and the other and them coming together to complete each other. I don't believe in completion. I believe in complementary addition. I believe a relationship is supposed to add to your life and be an asset to your life in every way, shape, and form. I don't think they have to necessarily be your everything and be your world. But I do think that if you're in the right partnership and you have established yourself enough where you have a balance, you're just literally adding more to the balance. You're adding more flavor to the plate. That's how I see it. So I think that works.
So it seems like you both do believe that you have to be your own person.
Oh yeah.
But you just have certain different definitions because you believe in marriage.
I do. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I definitely believe in marriage. But I mean,
I always be asking her why.
well,
But
I mean,
Are your parents divorced or are they
oh
together?
girl, they was never married.
my mother was the other woman, so there was,
Yeah.
but she was married to somebody else prior to that for like 10 years. And she didn't, it was not for her. She realized it was not the relationship, not that marriage wasn't for her. But I think for everybody it's different. I'm a person that believes that marriage is an incredible honor. Choosing somebody to legally participate in a partnership with is a big deal to me. I think it says a lot about women and men who choose to bind themselves in an agreement to do right by each other in every sense of the word. I think it has more to do with respect, and you are committing to respecting and honoring another person. I think that's beautiful.
And that's why I laugh, because that's a lie. The marriage has not led them to respect the vows that
Mandy's friends are not married. I have a lot of friends who are married very happily, and they believe in monogamy. They subscribe to it, and they're friends, and they all have separate lives, and they live an incredible life together. I mean, and maybe they are the rare cases, but I think a lot of people get married for the right reasons, which are to, have children and build a family and start a legacy. I think especially with people of color, it's really difficult because a lot of us don't grow up with that framework, right? And I think the idea is to do things differently than our parents did things. I definitely have always, in my mind, I looked at my mother's situation and always wanted to be a wife because I watched how much, I hate the word power, but in my father's situation, it was a power situation. There was a power trip. My father chose to honor his wife in that regard. Of course, after he cheated and had a baby. Sick respect story.
So her and her mother were kept a secret for the longest time, but they lived down the block from
a block and a half away.
A block and a half from his real family and the wife.
Yeah, from his married family.
Family.
We were his real family too, but it was a tough situation. But I think marriage is really not for everybody. But I think marriage can be for some. I think people have to decide what works for them. I think the beautiful thing about Mandy's life and about Mandy's choices and what Mandii believes in is that it's really rooted in transparency and honesty. And I think a lot of people get married and should not be married. They don't really believe in monogamy, but they're just trying to subscribe to the practice because they think that is, societally going to put them at a different status, when in fact, if you don't subscribe to it, you don't subscribe to it. You don't, just because you don't believe in monogamy doesn't mean you ain't shit. And you cannot get married and still live an honest life and live your truth and it be just as honorable.
Do you guys both believe that you can have a healthy polyamorous relationship that's sustainable for the rest of your life?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I actually just had a conversation. There's actually 8 different types of polyamorous relationships.
Okay.
Break them down.
I don't remember all of them, but there's like solo poly, monopoly, triad, quad, table polyamory, and then of course there's one more where it's just for to build a village.
Oh, okay.
So like
communal.
You can actually be with a partner who subscribes to another lifestyle as well, and I think that comes with the importance of the communication and the transparency. Yeah. Like my last partner kind of wanted it to be open. I just kind of wanted it to be swinging. So I enjoy being in the room.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really want you to date anyone else outside of me, but if we're going to play, I want to play together. And I think that that's also why I chose this lifestyle, because I realized I really like women as well. Now, I don't really want to be with a woman. I want a partner that's a man and not necessarily a partner as a woman, but I like to play with women.
That's what makes me nervous when it comes to people then opening that door. When you open the door to a threesome and then you're opening the door to swinging, then what happens that one day you're not there and then your partner goes and does their own thing and then they're like, well, we've already been fucking other people. What's the big deal?
Well, it was actually really respectful. Like when we would go to sex clubs and stuff together, like if there was someone he thought we could bring in or we enjoyed together, he would always grab my phone and they would have to put their number in my phone and it would always be up to me if we connected with them again or not. Yeah. So he didn't get numbers in those spaces without my acknowledgement, which I appreciate.
So I guess it is, at the end of the day, it is all about respect. And the other person, you kind of set boundaries.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, you set a boundary and you think it's one and then they do it and then you're like, as soon as you take someone back after they break a boundary, you realize it's no longer a boundary, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. And so that's the thing, too. Like, boundaries can change. Boundaries can be added at any time. And I just think it's important to communicate that. And I think that that's where getting into any lifestyle or a customizable relationship, you do have to be firm in what is an absolute stop for the relationship. And that has to be communicated, because if they cross that boundary, the relationship cannot take place. As long as you take a man back after he crosses the boundary, say like cheating.
Yeah.
That's not really your boundary, sis. And he's going to believe he can cheat again if he was able to get you back again after doing what you said you didn't want him to do.
That's the worst. And when I was younger, it was almost like I didn't want to know. Because I think secretly I knew my ex was cheating on me, but I didn't want to know, because then I knew if I found out, I would have to leave him.
Violet, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you believe that someone lying to you is because they love you? I've heard a lot of times, well, I lie to shelter their emotions or feelings. I don't want to hurt them.
No.
And so I lie. And so unfortunately in communications,
That's not love.
In relationships, but a lot of people lie.
There's a difference between white lies that's
here
to
you
avoid
go.
hurting
What's
your
a white
feelings.
lie?
Like in first sense, I don't like my partner's haircut, but he feels really good about it, so I'm gonna be like, yeah, baby, it looks cute. But like, maybe let's grow it out a little. That's a white lie. Not a white lie is more like I fucked his brother and I don't want to hurt his feelings. If I cared about his feelings, I probably wouldn't have done that. It's more, in my opinion, when it's not a white lie and I'm not telling my partner, it's because I don't want to deal with the consequences.
Okay. Yep.
Well, yeah, because ultimately lying is not about sparing anybody's feelings. Lying is about protecting yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
And
you don't
so
wanna know what's gonna happen.
That was a bar.
Well, because I think with that's why the cheating word is so tricky, especially if you don't believe in monogamy and you don't subscribe to it. Cheating to me is just a betrayal and a disrespect and a disregard for a set boundary that was communicated. I was in a relationship and I was unfaithful to my partner. The lack of faithfulness really came from us agreeing that we would only be with each other and that we were on the same page about what we needed and what we wanted. And then my mind changed and I didn't communicate about that when I changed my mind. Me changing my mind wasn't the problem, but the decisions that I made outside of my relationship that betrayed my relationship was the problem.
What made you change your mind?
I got bored and I realized I wanted more than what I was getting in my relationship.
Did you communicate that to him?
I did a couple times. And then, and of course this always comes up. It's like, yes, of course it sounds good and it sounds like it is the right thing to do to leave, but it's not always that easy to leave.
When you cheated on your partner, was it
Which time?
just
Sorry.
here? Oh my
Which
god!
time?
Was it like different people, or did you actually have like a full-on relationship with someone else?
It was one person in particular, and then it was very short-lived because it was not a thing. And then much later on down the line, towards the end of our relationship, it turned into a relationship, an affair with somebody else.
Do you feel like you subconsciously followed the footsteps of your father? So you've probably heard about microdosing. Specifically for me, I talk about all the time, but if not, you can search around a bit on the internet and you'll find all sorts of people who are currently microdosing to feel healthier and perform better in their day-to-day life, since, life can really get you sometimes. This week's episode of Almost Adulting is sponsored by one of my sponsors, which is Microdose Gummies. Microdose Gummies delivers perfect entry-level doses of THC that help you feel just the right amount of good without all the extra stuff like, the overeating and feeling like shit afterwards with a lot of those other THC products that are out there. They really do taste amazing. They feel amazing. I've used them to help me get in the zone when I'm creating an amazing episode for you guys. And I've also used them to help me kind of, chill the fuck out and be a little more mysterious when I feel like I can't shut the fuck up, or when I find myself on grandma's Facebook. Just kidding. She's dead. So usually grandma's Facebook of a guy that I just met last night because I'm in one of those talking moods. Anyway, all around, they are 10 out of 10 for me. Microdose is available nationwide, so to learn more about microdosing THC, just do a quick search online, go to microdose.com and use my code ADULTING to get free shipping and 30% off of your first order. That's 30% off of your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com, microdose.com, and my code ADULTING for 30% off. You're welcome, besties. Hello, quick shout out to one of my sponsors of the episode today. It is Dave. Hindsight is 2020 and you cannot change the past, right? But at least that's what I tell myself when I want to cry about something embarrassing that I did back in 2008 when Facebook wants to remind me how much I used to suck. But since that is the case, maybe you should try to help your future self. So I know times are hard right now, and you may not always feel comfortable asking a friend for a helping hand. But don't worry, because now you have Dave. Dave is not my boyfriend, but it is a banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. There's more money to fill your tank with these ridiculous gas prices, buy a wedding gift, or catch up on bills. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. There's no interest and no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief that they need with extra cash. So, if you're in a pinch and need some extra help, do not freak out and download Dave today and think of it as a helping hand from future you. So download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. Future you will thank you. So go download it right now.
Ooh, no. I did not.
Violet coming spicy with the question.
No, and I did not, because as much as my dad was dishonest in his marriage, he was always honest with my mother. To me, that's not the telltale sign of love either, because I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid, so I don't know what my parents' relationship was.
What you just said is what my experience has been as the other woman. I felt like I was getting the honest, true person. I feel like when you're married, or when you feel like you have to live up to societal standards, you show up as your representative. And a lot of husbands show up as a representative to their wives. And then to the mistress or the side chick. That's who they get to feel like themselves with. What am I doing wrong as the side chick? I didn't make a vow to anybody.
No, you're not doing anything wrong as a side chick. You're just maybe bad karma for you, but it's more about the person that's cheating.
And I believe, so the fact that in other parts of the country and world, men can often have multiple partners, I think karma is subjective. And so based on...
I don't think karma is subjective.
I think it's subjective.
I think the way that it comes back on you is subjective. I don't think it always repeats it. I don't think it repeats the cycle necessarily in a relationship, but it could repeat the cycle in a different scenario in your life.
So what made you want to start the cheating and not instead of leaving? Why did you stay in a relationship?
I did try to leave, and he would not let me leave, and not in like a violent physical way, but like emotionally was like, no, we're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna figure other things out, and I agreed to try. You know, within a couple of years, it was like, no, we're still not on the same page about certain things, but maybe some things will change, but also, I didn't necessarily believe that I would get what I needed and wanted from that relationship unless I went outside of it, which similarly to Mandi's idea about the men that seek something else. But I think there is something to be said about that feeling of like, well, if I'm messing around with somebody outside of my relationship, they can't judge me because they ain't shit either, because they know the situation, I know the situation. So we're kind of on the same page about this, and it's an escapism.
Do you think you wanted to get caught?
No, I definitely did not want to get caught.
Towards the end?
No, I did not want to get caught.
Do you think cheaters want to be caught?
No.
Sometimes, yeah.
No.
You believe when someone cheats, they want to be caught cheating?
Based on research.
I did not want to be
What
caught.
research is this? What website?
Well,
Right, I was like,
well, who's the source?
Who the fuck signed up for that?
Well, because
Who agreed
cheating,
to that?
there's a lot of different types of reasons why people cheat. Sometimes you're not happy, but when she said she tried to leave and he didn't let her, sometimes people can become bitter and they're like, you're not hearing me, so then I'm going to cheat on you and hopefully you're just going to leave.
No.
Or you want to get caught because you're too much of a pussy.
I also think that the lifestyle that I was living required me to... He was not a part of my industry and my field, right? And I think as a man, it was very uncomfortable for him to be around my peers, my male peers that were in my industry, my colleagues, and not feel like he was measuring up, which I mean, ultimately really, it didn't mean anything to me, but it meant a lot to him. And I think that put a lot of pressure on the relationship, put a strain on the relationship. But overall, I mean, I think at some point too, I just got bored and I just did it because I could, which I think is a lot of people. I don't always think it's because there's something wrong in the relationship, which Mandii and I say all the time. Sometimes it's not that people cheat because there's something missing. They just like something. They like something else that's additional to whatever they already have.
And to me, that's just a human.
Which is just a human. You just may not necessarily subscribe. But I have been in relationships since that relationship where I was monogamous and I was completely happy and satisfied. which, I mean, my karma came back swiftly because I ended up in a relationship with somebody else after, and I was totally in love and totally faithful, and then I got cheated on, and that was miserable, but also really embarrassing. Yeah, it hit me really hard, and then it was embarrassing.
Was it eye opening for you to get cheated on, to kind of finally know what that's like?
I had been cheated on prior to that, so I had already kind of felt like, which I think hurt people.
So you've been cheated on, then you're in a relationship and you start cheating. What does it feel the first time to cheat on someone? Is it like exciting? Is it like, can I do this? Can I not?
I mean,
like, what's the
if
feeling?
it's good, I'm sure it's exciting.
I mean, there's an adrenaline rush. You feel like, I'm doing something bad. I could get in trouble for this. So there's a little bit of excitement around the act of it. But I think overall, especially if you do care about the person that you are with and committed to, I think you feel badly about feeling selfish. But I don't think that the feeling of the guilt doesn't outweigh the selfishness.
Yeah, the guilt doesn't outweigh the self.
So you can feel both at the same time, you know what I mean? But the guilt doesn't usually outweigh the selfishness in those moments if you have cheated before.
So,
and a lot of women have cheated.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
I love that you are even in the position to just speak from that experience, because so many women will take it to the grave, but majority of my homegirls are currently, sorry if you're listening to this, are cheating on their partners.
Yeah,
it's not Bridget, but my other friends, where I'm just like, I actually ask, why are you still there then?
Right.
Why would you still be with someone where either financially you have to seek assistance from another man, or sexually you have to seek assistance from another man? I have a friend right now who's been dating someone for quite some time. She doesn't find him attractive anymore. So she cheats on him sexually because she genuinely does not find her partner attractive anymore.
Damn.
And they've been
That's
together
rough.
for quite some time, and we have constant conversations, but financially he shows up. And I think a lot of women get into the chokehold of what a man provides, especially in terms of security and finances, that they'll put up with things that they probably wouldn't have if this person didn't have money.
What's your definition of a perfect partner? What you look for in someone for the future?
So I want to relate back to an episode of Almost Adulting. Perfection is bullshit. You cannot be perfect.
Don't we love how she threw that in there? Shameless plug.
Violet, you sat here and talk about how much you constantly seek perfection and how it drives you crazy. And so to me, when you're dating, if you're seeking a partner to be perfect, you're going to drive yourself crazy, because
or to be everything for you.
No one will be everything to you. No one can be perfect. And even when you meet someone, you're like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You realize they're allergic to shellfish and you really like oysters. And now you know what I mean? Like, it'll be something so simple. Like, you're so perfect, but oh my God, you don't like seafood. Oh my God, you're vegan, which shout out to all of you who can date a vegan. But
I sure as fuck can't.
So what you just asked, the way you chase perfection, the way a lot of us do, especially in business, in ourselves, and we find ourselves not reaching that potential either, it's unrealistic to expect another person to reach perfection for you.
That blows my mind. You're so correct. Yeah. Especially when I have to talk to myself and I'm like, okay, V, you can't be perfect, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, so you're not perfect, not for me. You're not. That makes sense.
You can't expect someone to be perfect when you're not perfect. And it's a thing going on Twitter now. Like, you have to realistically require from someone what you require of yourself. If it's something that you can't give, why are you asking to receive it?
Right.
Like, ask for what you can give and feel as though you should be receiving it, because those are your standards. And your standards should be what you can give somebody, which, to be honest, maybe this is why I was a side chick for so long. I didn't feel like I could fully be a good partner. I didn't have money. I didn't get my degree yet. I didn't have my own spot. Like, how am I asking for a man to be a millionaire with his own spot when I have roommates?
Right.
It's weird.
Which, I mean, I think lends itself to the idea too that a lot of people who cheat are inherently unhappy. Thinking back to when it all happened, Apple iOS totally fucked me up, because when you search someone's
all the cheaters get caught by Apple.
when you search someone's name, and this is also why I don't save text messages for that long anymore, because like he went through my phone, searched someone's name in my phone, and a text conversation with a homegirl from 3 months prior, the name popped up in that conversation
and you were
thread.
Talking about how good it was.
I was talking about how good the dick was. Oh my God.
You're lying.
And ladies, you know the conversations you have with your homegirl when you're gushing about how good the dick is.
It had memes and all.
Thorough. It's thorough. The descriptions, the time, the place, the atmosphere, the ambiance, all the things.
I hope you know to have those conversations on the phone now.
Oh, baby. It's giving voice note and then it disappears.
That is literally why
and it
people send
disappears.
voice notes. I just know.
Voice note and it disappears. That's it. I think too, a lot of people don't realize how unhappy they are. Like, I left the label and I was not making as much money as I was before. I was just not in a good space and I needed an ego stroke that I knew my partner couldn't provide for me. Or maybe he could have. I didn't go back to try to see if he could. I was selfish and impatient and sought that ego stroke and attention elsewhere, which I think, again, says more about the cheater than the person that's being cheated on. So I think for me, I was really unhappy. And I think that when you start dating and you're dating intentionally to be in a relationship with somebody, you really got to do some work within to see if you're really choosing a partner based on what you're trying to build and what you're looking forward to in the future and survival mode. And I think a lot of people have dated in survival mode and not really chosen partners based on what their vision is, right? Mm-hmm. But they've chosen based on what their current circumstance is. So you can't choose a life partner based on circumstance. You got to choose it based on foundational things, core values. And a lot of those you're not going to see when you're in survival mode because you're just trying to keep the boat from sinking, right? Yeah. So if that's all you're doing, I mean, you're not going to necessarily know that the person that you're choosing while you're trying to get the water out the boat is ready to set the boat on fire. You don't know that.
I mean, or to get an orgasm, but nonetheless.
Or that, you never know.
But I like that. The fact that you understand accountability. Oh, yeah. And the fact that you.
Oh, I was trash. I was so trash. Mind you, this was like 9 years ago. So it was a long time ago. I was in my 20s, but it was still trash. It was absolutely awful. It was horrific. And I still feel terrible that my decisions were so hurtful to somebody. And then we went on a reality show and it just like fucking added insult to injury and rehashed all the shit from before and then had to relive the guilt and all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
And the shame around it. But I do believe that the only way to grow is to be accountable. You cannot learn from anything without being accountable. You just can't. And accountability is not punishment. And we talked about that even on our episode.
Love that.
It's not punishment. Accountability is not punishment. You cannot punish someone into being and feeling what you think accountability should look like if you've been hurt or you've been wronged. Because chances are there's still, when you've been hurt, you still kind of want to twist the knife a little bit just to kind of, you know what I mean? Get your retribution. And that's not really, retribution is not justice. Revenge is not always justice, especially in relationships. Mm-hmm. I think forgiveness is the key to healing, and forgiveness sometimes looks like walking away. Forgiveness can be detachment, disconnection, but if it looks like blocking them, which is detachment. And if not, and forgiveness looks like, all right, cool, I'm going to grant you the grace to try to grow from this. Then you're willing to participate in a situation and grant somebody the space, potentially the room to fuck up again, possibly. Yeah. And you got to be okay with that. And I think a lot of people, especially now, I mean, we're all in our 30s. So now it's like, if you can't be accountable for the stupid ass shit that you did at any point in your life and you can't look back on it and be like, damn, I learned a valuable fucking lesson. On top of not wanting to text about any bullshit anymore and only sending voice notes, valuable lesson number one. More importantly than that, I need to do a self check-in too and understand like, well, where am I at? Where am I making this decision from? Am I making this decision from a place of desperation? Am I making this decision from a place of hopefulness and optimism and excitement? And how does this contribute to the bigger picture? I think the older we get, the more our bigger picture looks less like perfection and more like reality. We want our vision to be a reality. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves first about what those steps are going to look like, and be honest about the bullshit that we might do in the in-between that could deter us and take us off track from that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you can be so honest. Obviously, it happened 8 years ago, but I love that you can be so honest about you fucking up, you not being happy, and then also forgiving yourself and moving on, regardless if anyone else wants to hold you accountable. Because you're right, like people, it's either being held accountable for something, but then allowing people to grow, or you don't actually want this person to be held accountable. You just want them to, be miserable.
You want them to hurt.
Upset, like forever.
Which is a natural human reaction, right? You know what I mean? I got cheated on, and I was ready to blow his car up. I understand. I get it. I do. I really get it. I had a steel bat. I was in an Uber on my way to beat the girl's ass, and I felt bad about it. And I was like, you know what? Let me turn around, because I've never been arrested. I've never gone to jail. Knock on wood. Somewhere there's wood somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like never. And I was like, do I really want to do this over this? Because I'm already embarrassed. I already look crazy. So now if I go and beat this bitch with a bat, it's gonna make me look worse. It's not really gonna. Bigger picture.
Yeah,
Nah,
Bigger
I can't do
picture.
it. Can't do it. Bigger
Yeah.
picture just made no sense. I just got to take this L on the chin and move forward.
Yeah. And then I like also what you said. That was really interesting about you liked being the other woman because you felt like you couldn't be everything to your partner. And because when I've been interviewing therapists and people like that, like from Create the Love, Mark Groves, he's really good. So he spoke about that a lot of times we talk to our friends, we're like, well, babe, you deserve the best. And then one day I sat and I was like, do we all deserve the best? Like, do we? And that's when it made me realize, like, right, like what you just said would make sense, where if I'm not working on myself, if I'm kind of a piece of shit, or if I'm not in a place where I want to be in my life, then would I then deserve someone who's like working on themselves, like a good person, everything else? But it's also interesting how a lot of women, we look for a man that can provide for us and all that. Then you were sitting there, we're like, well, I'm not making all this money, then why would he want to date me? When in reality, a man's most of the time is not looking for that.
I mean, I think that's where, as the modern day woman, I'm having the issue with communicating to a man that the providing the security, the financial support that the patriarchy has set for men to feel as though this is how they have to show up. I'm now seeking emotional support, acts of service, quality time, things that
affection, intimacy.
Intimacy. Oh my God. I used to genuinely be able to have sex with people and not kiss them. And now I'm just like,